It's time to crack open a cold one and embrace the absurd. This is the Exploded Mini Show. Here we go.
I so have to understand. I so want to understand the Saw movies because this has been a running theme for 3 years of doing this show. We have referenced Saw about 1 million times and how it makes no fucking sense about 1 million times. And I've never taken the time to try to actually figure it out. And what's stupid is just like when you had the Knights of the Round Table who were so nice to sit in on the show a couple weeks ago. J-Law said something that I also agree with. He said, I will watch any Saw movie anytime, any day of the week. If there was a Saw 8, a Saw 9, a Saw 10, I'm going to go see it. And I agree with him. I would go see, that's how I felt about the Saw movies. I went to all the Saw movies.
Okay.
I don't think I understood a fucking thing after the second Saw movie.
I assume the way we're going to play this game is I'm just going to go to the IMDb. Whatever the top rated storyline, like
is that they do have like plot summations?
Yeah. The summation here, like it's written by Otto Bresch, corrected by Paul P. But they have a nice little short thing here. I'm going to read, and I can edit it if we want to change it.
No, well, yeah. Let's try to go with whatever looks like it makes sense.
You just want to fuck up the Saw plot lines for a night. We could let's
try to understand. I almost feel like I need like a whiteboard or something. Like I'm going to get a pen and a piece of paper.
All right. Let's do this.
Because we're going to, by the end of this episode, we will understand the canon behind Saw. That's my goal. Oh, it's going to be a long night, people.
2 men wake up at opposite sides of a dirty, disused bathroom, chained by their ankles. Hold on, that sounds loud to me. Chained by their ankles to pipes. Between them lies a dead man, loosely clutched a handheld tape player and a handgun. Each finds a tape for the player in their back pocket. They play the tapes. One is threatened, the other isn't. But they have a task. One must kill the other by 6 o'clock, or his wife and daughter will die. They find hacksaws in the toilet. They try to cut the chains, but it doesn't work. They are the 2 newest victims of the Jigsaw Killer. In a flashback, we learn Amanda, a girl who falls victim to Jigsaw Killer. That's not a sentence. On her head is a mask. Hang on
1 second. I think we got our first, like, Amanda plays if I remember the series well enough, I need to write the name Amanda down.
Yes.
Because she plays a central role.
All right, so we're going a full fucking trapped in the closet on this.
We might be, because I need to understand this, dude. So Amanda is the sole survivor of a Jigsaw, right? So we got Amanda and we got Jigsaw.
Amanda,
now, if
from
I
my
also
memory,
remember,
goes on to become like the heroin addict who becomes his apprentice. Is that right?
Well, yeah, we'll figure that out shortly.
Well, I'm just going to make the note. Amanda, apprentice.
/ survivor. And then you've got Jigsaw.
Jigsaw is the killer.
Who's the killer?
We got 2 guys.
Now we've got
2 unnamed people with a tape in their pocket in a locked room with a hacksaw.
Now, I don't remember that. So I thought the game was, if you want freedom, cut your leg off. I didn't realize the game was you have to kill the other guy.
No, the ultimatum of the game was kill each other. But they figured out the loophole and he cut his leg off and escaped and left the other one to die. So he essentially did kill him in the end. But
okay, so we'll pick up where you left off.
I'm not done with
Amanda down.
Amanda, a girl who falls victim to the Jigsaw Killer is where we stopped. On her head is a mask, which is hooked into her lower jaw. There is a timer on it. Only one key will unlock it, and that key is the digestive in the digestive tract of her cellmate who lays paralyzed on the opposite room of the floor. If she doesn't unlock the mask in time, her lower jaw will be ripped open. She survives, but her cellmate doesn't. And through a series of flashbacks, we learn more. ... Okay, I guess I got to click somewhere.
Now, Amanda, one of the things that always blew my mind about Amanda from the movie Saw is that she was played by an actress called Shawnee Smith, who is also an actress in a CBS sitcom called Becker, starring Ted Danson, in which she was the large-bosomed secretary who always said funny and dumb things. And so the whole time I'm watching Saw, I'm going, oh, that's the lady from Becker with the large bosoms and who has no brain.
Becker, but I believe
Great show,
you.
Becker. One of Ted Danson's best shows.
She survives, but her cellmate doesn't. Through a series of flashbacks, we learn of more victims and a nearly successful capture of the Jigsaw killer, who doesn't actually kill his victims. Instead, he finds ways to make them kill either themselves or each other, and he thinks the entire game out perfectly, with no other ways out, or so it would seem. That is...
So the whole thing behind Jigsaw is that's the whole summation right there, because we'll wrap up the little plot points that it left out.
Yeah.
That's why I wonder if Wikipedia will be better, because I think Wikipedia actually walks you through it almost like tells you the movie in a very brief way. But so what happens for those that don't know Saw 1, because that's the one I can explain.
Well, that's Saw 1. He sets up the two guys. That's the one I just read, was Saw 1.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it left out, obviously that plot summary left out a lot of shit. So I'm trying to like fill in the gaps for people who may have never seen the Saw movie. The two guys, one of the guys does cut his leg off successfully, leaves, and the other guy, I guess he leaves him to die. Danny Glover gets killed in the movie too. Danny Glover is the guy where it said...
Danny Glover's not in the first movie.
Danny Glover is in the first movie. Because he's the guy that almost caught Jigsaw. 100% first movie.
No way.
Danny Glover. He IMDb it.
I'm going to have to.
When it said almost catches
I set up the next thing. Hold on. Fucking, this is...
When it said almost catches Jigsaw, Danny Glover was the cop that almost catches Jigsaw.
You're right. Okay.
Jigsaw set up a trap.
Detective
shot out like
David
a
Trapp.
shotgun through his chest. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, fuck you then. Danny Glover. I didn't know Danny Glover was in that movie.
Trust me. I know Saw 1. Yeah, I know Saw 1 quite well. So then anyway, Amanda's the only survivor. And then at the very end of the movie, this was the greatest plot twist in all of history. So spoilies for those who... This whole thing is going to spoil the entire Saw series for you. But right at the end of the movie, how there was the dead body in the middle. The one guy cuts his leg off, leaves. The other guy is left for dead. And out of nowhere, the dead body that's been in the middle the whole time, the guy stands up. The dead body rises from the dead. And turns out the dead body is Jigsaw. And he was hanging out in the room so he could watch his little game the whole time and enjoy it. Like the sick sadistic son of a bitch that he is. And it was, for those that saw it in theaters, the first Saw movie, that ending was shocking.
No, that movie was ridiculous, and it only got more ridiculous. Saw 1.
But you were like, you didn't see that twist coming, right? That twist caught you, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. So Saw 1, adjusted for inflation, made $65,000 in the U.S. and Canada.
65,000?
Million. 65 million.
Oh, okay.
And it was made on a $1.4 million budget.
So it made some good dough. Made some good dough for him.
All right.
So now we're on Saw 2. And the only characters I've written down so far are Amanda and Jigsaw.
Yeah, I got Amanda. Let me write Jigsaw down. I guess he's important.
Trying to keep up.
Okay, so this one has 4 different plot summaries. Only one of them is decent sized. This is from Claudio Carvalho from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He says, When Detective
Good
Eric,
deal. I know if someone understands the Saw movies, it's a random Brazilian.
well, he says as a number one plot summarizer, when Detective Eric Matthews is called to a crime scene of a victim of Jigsaw, he finds a lead to the place where he is hidden. Once there, he
I'm gonna write
realized
that name down.
Eric Matthews?
I'm writing it down. Continue.
So once he's there, he realizes that Jigsaw has trapped his son, Daniel Matthews, with 3 women and 4 men in a shelter, and they are inhaling lethal nerve gas. Okay. If they do not use an antidote within 2 hours, they will die. Eric follows with increasing desperation the death of each member of the group in the monitors while trying to convince Jigsaw to release his son.
I have a feeling he is not going to release his son. I have a feeling his son's about to die
Hold on, maybe
from the fucking nerve gas.
maybe we shouldn't be reading summaries. Maybe we should be reading synopsis. Ty.
Maybe, I'm telling you, Wikipedia is the way to go here.
No, I went to
Wikipedia is going to break it down for you.
I went
bro.
to Wikipedia. No, I didn't go for the film. I went to the franchise, but it didn't have much. That's where I'm getting the prices.
Yeah, you should have gone to individual films.
Oh no, here we go.
But Synopsci might also work.
This is what we're looking for. Synopsci does it.
We figured it out? Okay,
Yeah.
Synopsci is the way to go.
So, to start over, Saw 2. Do we want to start over? Like, we can edit.
No,
cut back.
we Saw 1, I feel like we did a good job.
Everybody's seen
You
Saw
got
1,
Amanda,
right?
You got Jigsaw.
Everybody's seen Saw 1.
Everyone's seen Saw 1.
Fuck you if you haven't seen Saw 1. If we didn't explain it well enough,
And here's
go
the
back
other thing.
and watch Saw 1, you fucking asshole. Fucking give you
The
Roth
other
a
thing
little
is,
bit
I
of
don't
money.
think it's that necessary. I don't think it's that necessary because Saw 1 is a standalone movie.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, I think when they made Saw 1, they hadn't thought they were going to make 7
No,
of them.
like 3 guys got some fucking shit together and then got a studio to produce it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is everything that happens after Saw 1. They start inventing the canon, I feel like. Back to the music.
The film opens
Saw
with
2.
Michael, played by Naomi Jenkins, a police informant, finding himself ensnared by a deadly trap created by the Jigsaw Killer, played by Tobin Bell. A videotape message informs him that a Venus flytrap-like helmet full of spikes has been locked around his neck and will close on his head unless he finds the key in time. Michael realizes, through the hints left by Jigsaw, that the key has been implanted behind his right eye. He finds a scalpel nearby, but cannot bring himself to cut out his own eye. When the timer runs out, the device slams shut, killing him instantly. After arguing with his rebellious teenage son, Daniel, played by Eric Knudsen, Detective Eric Matthews, played by Donnie Wahlberg. Holy fuck. Donnie Wahlberg is called...
Wahlburgers, baby.
He is called to the scene of yet another death perpetrated by the infamous Jigsaw on account of his name being written on the wall. So apparently Jigsaw wrote his name on the wall. Noticing
Now,
that...
I'm also going to put stars by Detective Eric Matthews because I do know this. Donnie Wahlberg, a central figure in the Saw canon. So Detective Eric Matthews, if you're keeping notes, write him down. Okay, continue.
Noticing that a padlock on the Iron Maiden-like device around the victim's neck bears a Wilson Steel logo, he gathers a SWAT team and arrives at the company's abandoned factory, which has now become another layer of Jigsaw. Okay. Detective Eric Matthews
Go ahead.
went to a crime scene and was like, there's a whole lot of dead shit here. How did this happen? And he looked at a lock that said Wilson Steel made this lock, and he went, oh, this is a Jigsaw layer.
It's a very curious. I feel like we're missing something there between like maybe watching the movie or maybe Saw 1. Maybe there was something Wilson Still was from the first movie. I'm not sure. Because I thought how they knew it was Jigsaw.
I feel like
and
Wilson
how he got
Steel,
the name Jigsaw is he would cut.
well, he would cut puzzle pieces out of people's backs and shit. That's
Yeah.
where the nickname comes from.
That's how you knew it was Jigsaw.
But I think
Yeah.
the name Wilson Steel may be the first point to something that comes along in Saw 18.
Okay, I'm writing it down. I'm writing Wilson Still down. Good point.
So,
Wilson Still. I'm just going to write next to that, what does this mean?
it's also hilarious.
Oh, no, I'm going to write down... I'm going to write down like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Time. Wilson Still, this means something. That's what I'm going to write down.
Well, it's also interesting that Detective Eric Matthews goes like, Matthews to radio, and radio goes like, yeah, Matthews, I hear you. And he goes, I need a SWAT team. I just found a lock made by Wilson Steele. And they're like, SWAT team is being dispensed.
Oh, they sent it fast. You're right. They did not. I don't think you could just go, hey, can you get a SWAT team here? I just stubbed my toe on a master lock. We're sending the National Guard right now, Donnie Wahlberg.
He finds a victim's neck that bears a Wilson Steel logo. He gathers a SWAT team and arrives at the company's abandoned factory, which now has become another layer. So that's such a weird hint. Anyway, a set of computer monitors shows several people trapped in a mysterious house, with Daniel among them.
This is where we find his son.
Yeah. A timer is also present, with less than 2 hours left. Considerably weakened by his rapidly advancing brain cancer, Jigsaw informs Detective Matthews that he will see his son in a safe and secure state if he can sit in the room and converse with him long enough.
Okay, this is huge because this was from Saw 1.
A lot of information.
Jigsaw, the reason Jigsaw became Jigsaw is he wanted people to appreciate life.
Well, no, Saw 1 doesn't tell you that. Saw 1 is just Saw 1 is just a crazy killer that put these people in this situation, and then he was laying there the whole time. Saw 2 gives him a little bit of emotion.
Saw 2 where we find out that he has the reason Jigsaw became Jigsaw. Okay, so we find that out in Saw 2. The reason Jigsaw became Jigsaw is because he has brain cancer
and he wants to teach people a lesson.
Every moment of life.
Yeah. Stop being so petty. Otherwise, I'm going to put you in this trap, and this trap will make you appreciate every second you have alive.
Or it'll fucking kill you like my brain cancer.
Yeah. So
it's killing me.
Oh, wrong button, but
Go with that.
In the house that kidnapped people are trying to figure out how they got there.
Sexy Saw.
One person is passed out on the floor, and later turns out to be Amanda Young, played by Shawnee Smith. Ooh.
Holy fuck. Here comes Amanda. Amanda's back.
So she's passed out on the floor. A familiar face from the first Saw film, wherein she was the only character to escape from her trap. There are 6 people in addition to Daniel and Amanda, and none of them know who the others are. Amanda finds a cassette player, and a note falls to the floor. She plays that cassette, and they learn that the door in the house will open in 3 hours, but a toxic nerve gas is leaking into the house, which will kill them in 2 hours unless they fuck.
Yep, they got to get their fuck on. Get their dirty fuck on.
Unless they can find anecdotes. One of these is in a safe room with them, the combination to which is said to be in the back of their mind. A tape also states that the key to how they are connected to each other is marked by an X. Gus, played by Tony Napo, is quickly killed while peering out the door's peephole because Xavier, played by Frankie G, attempts to unlock the door with a key found with a note that reads, "Do not attempt to use this key," on the door to this room.
I forgot fucking Frankie G was in this movie.
I don't know who Frankie
G is.
Frankie
G, he is an R&B singer with a hit song. He had a hit song.
Frankie G quickly dispenses of Tony Napo by sticking a key in a lock.
Well, like literally, this does sound like a shitty part of the movie because the key in the lock said, "Don't use this key in this lock," and then he was like, "I'm going to use the key in the lock," and then
by happen chance, the guy, but by happen chance, it worked out where the guy was looking through the lock. Like, how did you time that out? How did you plan? Because otherwise, you stick the key in the lock and a needle shoots out the other end, and it doesn't hit anybody in the face.
It's a good point. But we are not watching the Saw movies to not see someone get a needle shot in the face. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're not watching Saw to see a needle miss someone's eyeball. I want that fucker right square in the center of the retina.
Well, Saw 2 now intercuts between Jigsaw's lair and a Mathis talk with Jigsaw, an attempt to buy time while the video signal is traced.
What did you just say? A mathematician just...
Saw 2 is now intercuts between Jigsaw's lair as Matthews talks with Jigsaw in an attempt to buy time while the video signal is traced, and the captives in the house trying to secure anecdotes. And in the basement, they find a message for Obi, played by Tim Bird, revealing that he helped in the capture of everybody in the house. That's all one sentence.
So Donnie Wahlberg is pleading with Jigsaw to stop, but the game continues on. Is that a good way to summarize that?
I don't know. For some reason, it sounds like the movie went to like an interlude, and no one, not even the characters, understand why. It sounds like no one knows why we did this.
Yeah. Donnie Wahlberg is somewhere with Jigsaw, pleading with him, and the guys are still in the haunted house.
Sure. Soon after this, he is burned to death by a furnace while attempting to take 2 antidotes from inside.
That sounds like a good death.
That's the resolution to that story.
I would like to see that.
Climbed in a furnace. While he is burning, he notices a switch that could have turned off the fire. Next to a drawing of the devil. On tape, Jigsaw says, "When you're in hell, only the devil can help you out." He dies without getting the syringes out, and everybody goes back upstairs.
I like how everybody nonchalantly, there's constant death, and everyone's like, well, let's go back up to the living room, guys. One more down. Living room it is.
I don't understand. There was a switch, and he was. I don't understand why the guy didn't find the switch.
Don't understand.
Because,
one guy's
because
down.
The picture of the devil scared you away.
The greater. Yeah, he got scared of the devil and jumped into the flames.
The thing is, we're going to question.
One guy's dead.
We got to question it now. We're early. We're going to question everything, and we'll eventually fall into a rhythm of following our own theories, and we'll decide exactly how this film ends.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that I think that this was a foot soldier death. Like, you had 6 people in the house.
We're 5 minutes into the film.
5 of the 6 don't matter for shit.
We got to kill this guy. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So, a door with a padlock is found, and Xavier pushes the door, which starts a countdown timer. Another tape is found in which Jigsaw condemns Xavier for being a drug dealer. A pit with 1,000 used hypodermic syringes is revealed, with a key and an anecdote within. Instead of searching for the pit for himself, Xavier throws Amanda in. Amanda retrieves the key, but Xavier fails to unlock the door before the timer runs out, and the anecdotes remain locked. So Amanda got thrown into...
So I don't understand this, though. They keep trying to get... Well, that was the worst scene in Saw 2. I also went to the theater to see this one. Essentially, there was a vat of syringes, like needles, and they just threw the chick in, and she's getting stabbed with needles all over, having to find a key. She finds the key, and then I guess somebody else's eye gets shot out, is what it sounds like.
Something like that. Did it say his eye?
But that scene was brutal, dude. I remember watching that and fucking feeling like I had needles all in me.
Oh, yeah.
It was brutal.
Yeah, that was a serious one. That's why I like Saw. Like, not everything's good, but you can pick out your death scenes. You like The death scenes are what you're talking about when you talk about Saw. No one's talking about Danny Wahlberg fucking selling hamburgers fucking to the fucking Jigsaw.
One, I would still argue that Saw 2, again, for the most part, made sense. And not only did it make sense, Saw 2 was also a good movie. I'm sure on Rotten Tomatoes, it got at least 60, 70%. It was a good movie.
I'm sure it holds its own.
So, okay, but Amanda has survived. The other guy's dead. Okay, and we move on.
I think this is a crucial time that we have to decide whether the synopsis goes on for 15 more paragraphs.
Dude, it's too long. You are the editor. You're reading it.
Oh, God damn.
You got to cut the fucking
read ahead.
deaths out.
I'm just going to skip every other paragraph.
There's no need to see every single death. Yeah. What we're trying to do is figure out the stories behind it.
Well, I feel like if I skip something, we're going to miss something important. But at the same time,
it's possible. It's fucking possible.
I don't know if we can do all 7 of these tonight. I'm already hungry and tired.
No, it's happening.
I'm already getting the fucking sleepy hungries.
We're going through the goddamn Saw series. So continue, sir.
Addison somehow finds another unlocked room and stumbles upon a glass box containing an antidote, a trap meant for Gus, and becomes caught in it. If she only had taken a moment to look around, she would have seen the key hanging from the ceiling on the other side of the box. Xavier comes in to Addison, alerted her by her scream for help, but only to obtain her number. Rather than unlock the box, he leaves her to die for blood loss. Xavier then discovers Daniel is Matthews' son by finding a discarded photo and hunts him and Amanda down.
Well, we knew that already. We already knew Daniel was Matthews' son, so let's move on.
The timer at Jigsaw's lair expires and the safe opens, revealing Daniel inside wearing an oxygen mask.
So that's good to know. So, even though Eric Matthews is pleading, don't let my son die of nerve gas, he's really been safeguarded. So Jigsaw was fucking with him the whole time.
Amanda appears in the door and says, "Game over," before closing the bathroom door while Matthews screams threats and abuse. Outside the house, a very badly beaten Jigsaw slowly forms a smile as he is happy that his master plan has worked perfectly.
Now, hold on a second. Which Matthews is it she said game over to? Donnie Wahlberg Matthews or the kid?
I don't know. I think the kid died in the safe.
I feel like the kid survived. I feel like she just killed Donnie Wahlberg. I have to read
more paragraphs.
Wait, was this your every other paragraph plan?
Yes.
Horrible plan.
There are a lot.
That also mean there's only 5 paragraphs left when you said there were 15.
No,
you read 3.
In all honesty, I skipped every third one. I jumped through a lot.
You skipped a lot of shit. I am telling you, if you would listen to me, if you would go to Wikipedia, it's very tight synopsis.
Okay.
But you got to go to the individual movies. You
so
can't go to the franchise.
I think we got the gist of Saw 2, though. So we're going to start with Saw 3.
So my question is, so Amanda, if I remember correctly, Amanda's somehow working with Jigsaw now, right?
Yeah. It turns out she was in on it all the time.
Now, is Jigsaw still alive?
Yeah.
He's sick, but he's still got the brain cancer.
Yeah. He was punching in the air,
so you got
smiling.
a brain cancer Jigsaw, and you've got an Amanda, and for no reason, because in the first one, he's trying to teach people to appreciate life. It feels like this entire movie, they were just fucking with Donnie Wahlberg and going to kill him anyway. It feels like a cat playing with a cat toy.
I think he's still alive.
So game over, but nobody died?
A lot of people died, but nobody significant. They introduced 5 new characters, and the 4 existing ones stayed alive, plus Donnie Wahlberg. New Kids on the Block.
All right, here's what we got. We have got Amanda still here, but now she's not just the sole survivor. Now she's working with Jigsaw. Jigsaw has brain cancer. Detective Eric Matthews, a.k.a. Donnie Wahlberg, may or may not be dead. Daniel Matthews, his son, may or may not be dead. And Wilson still means something. That's where we're at after Saw 2. We're already losing our way. So let's continue. Let's keep trying to put the pieces together.
All right. Saw 3, according to Wikipedia, no longer IMDb. The aftermath of Jigsaw game is discovered by The aftermath of a Jigsaw game is discovered by a SWAT team. The victim, Troy, is meant to rip chains from his body in order to escape from a bomb. Lieutenant Daniel Rigg calls Detective Mark Hoffman and Allison Carey to the scene. Carey, who is guilt-ridden.
God damn, so many names.
This is why fucking Saw doesn't make sense.
So already in Saw 3, here's what's crazy. Saw 2, by the end of our notes, I had 4 names. You just named 7 names. I don't even know out of those 7 who matters. So keep going.
Troy, Lieutenant Daniel, Detective Mark, and Allison Carey. Carey, who was a guilt-ridden over the disappearance of Eric Matthews, points out that the room's only exit is welded shut, breaking Jigsaw's modus operandi of giving his opponents a chance to survive. That night, while reviewing the videotape, she is abducted and awakens in a harness that is hooked to her ribs. She manages to retrieve the key from a suspended beaker of acid and unlock it before the timer expires. But she tears her rib cage apart anyway, killing her. So wait, Allison Carey is dead.
Carey, she's dead already, but she knew Matthews and she noticed that the most recent killing seemed different than before.
Yes, she was a very astute detective. She went before her time.
But she's dead now, so I'm just going to say dead. Okay, keep going.
Now,
that didn't last long.
Bedridden from cancer, John Kramer, I think John Kramer is the same thing as a Jigsaw, instructs Amanda Young to abduct Dr. Lynn DeLeon from her hospital. She is brought to Kramer and instructed to keep him alive until the other victim has completed his game. As Kramer explains the rules, Amanda locks a collar around Lynn's throat that connects Kramer's heart monitor and will detonate if Kramer dies or Lynn moves out of range. The other victim, Jeff...
Who is Lynn? Is Lynn the doctor?
Dr. Lynn DeLeon.
Okay, I got you. Okay, keep going.
So Amanda locks a collar around Lynn's throat that connects her to Kramer's heart rate. And if Kramer dies or Lynn moves out of range, the doctor dies. The other victim, Jeff, awakens in a box abandoned in an abandoned meatpacking plant and learns about a microcassette recorder that he must undergo test, which will lead him to the man responsible for the loss of his child. So who the fuck is Jeff?
Dude, you see how much like Saw 1 and Saw 2 made sense? I don't even know if you were timing the movie. We're 20 minutes into Saw 3. We have 18 characters and none of it seems connected to me.
Okay, so
Jeff, it just seems like they're just introducing characters left and right.
So Jeff has become unstable and vengeful in the 3 years since his son Dylan was killed by a drunk driver. Now he's estranged from his wife and neglects his daughter Corbett. So Corbett is...
That's 20...
Yeah. So Jeff's first test...
23 characters.
Jeff's first test leads him to the meat freezer where he finds Danica Scott, the only witness to Dylan's death, who refused to testify.
37 characters.
Who refused to testify in court. She is naked, chained at the wrist between 2 poles, which is spraying ice cold water at random intervals. She manages to convince Jeff to help her, but freezes to death before he can retrieve the key. His second test leads him to a vat, at the bottom of which Judge Halden, who gave Dylan's killer 6 months in jail, is chained by the neck. The vat slowly fills with liquefied pig corpses, but Jeff reluctantly... This is the most ridiculous statement. The vat fills with liquefied pig corpses, but Jeff reluctantly incinerates Dylan's belongings in order to retrieve the key and save Halden. His third test brings him before Timothy Young, Dylan's killer, who is strapped to a machine that will twist his limbs and neck in turn until they break. The key is tied to the trigger of an enclosed shotgun. Jeff eventually tries to free Timothy, but taking the key discharges the shotgun and accidentally kills Hayden. And Jeff is unable to stop the machine before Timothy's necks break. So everybody died just now, right?
It sounds like to me, except for Jeff, it sounds like Jeff is still alive.
Who is Howden?
The judge that he freed the pig corpse.
Okay, so Howden dies, and
see, all right, you're fucking reading a synopsis. I'm fucking lost, dude. I'm trying. Okay,
who is
pig
Timothy?
Corpse guy is dead.
Timothy is the killer. Drunk driver. Howden is the judge.
Killed his son.
So they both die, and Jeff is still alive.
Correct.
During an improvised surgery in which Lynn removes a piece of Kramer's skull to relieve pressure on his brain, he hallucinates about another woman and declares his love out loud, distressing Amanda. She leaves in flashbacks to show her time with Kramer, as well as her abduction from Adam.
Amanda is here now? She wasn't there before. So we got Amanda.
No, Amanda was here.
And her abduction.
Amanda was part of the story.
Okay. So Amanda is still with them. Okay, keep going.
Amanda's upset that, like, Jigsaw is having hallucinations, and she gets upset and goes back and has her own, like, flashback about her time in Jigsaw's together, as well as her abduction from Adam. I don't know who Adam is.
I don't either. Keep going. I'm trying to write it down, though.
All right, which left her guilt-ridden to the point she gave him a mercy killing out of guilt sometime after his game. In the present, she reads a letter addressed to her, which drives her to hysterics. As Lynn confesses to Kramer that her ordeal has given her a new appreciation for her family, Amanda returns with the news that Jeff has completed his test, but refuses to remove Lynn's collar. She reveals that she is no longer believing in Kramer's philosophy and has designed her own traps to simply kill, including Troy's and Carrie's. She has also fought with Eric Matthews after he escaped the bathroom by breaking his foot. She implies killing him, but Kramer believes she left him to die.
So Eric Matthews is not dead?
I don't know what.
Just he has a broken foot. Because now they're going back to Saw 2.
I don't know. I'm just reading words.
Keep going. I'm tracking it. Keep going.
Refusing to listen to Kramer's warnings, Amanda shoots Lynn in the back just as Jeff arrives. He retaliates by shooting Amanda in the neck with a gun provided by Kramer during his tests. As Amanda slowly dies, Kramer reveals that Lynn's test was actually hers. Aware of her modus operandi and unwilling to allow a murderer to inherit his legacy, he decided to test her will to keep someone alive. To this end, he told her nothing about Jeff and Lynn, including their marriage. Kramer then addresses Jeff, offering to call an ambulance for Lynn. If he accepts her one final test, he can choose to kill Kramer or forgive him. Jeff tells Kramer he forgives him, but then slashes his throat with a power saw. The door to the sick room seals itself as dying Kramer plays the final tape, which tells Jeff that he has failed his test by killing Kramer. The only person who knows Colbert's whereabouts to save her, Jeff must play another game. The tape ends with Kramer dying, and the collar promptly detonates and kills Lynn, leaving a screaming Jeff trapped in a sick room with 3 corpses. I don't know what the fuck I am saying.
I'm about to lay it out for you. Okay. Jigsaw, here's what we need to know. Jigsaw was still alive and still with cancer. However, now Jigsaw, after the end of Saw 3, dead. Killed by Jeff with a power saw to the throat. Jeff, who originally I just wrote Guy with a question mark, actually turns out to be Dr. De Leon's husband. The doctor that was being trapped and made to keep Jigsaw alive. When Jeff finds out that Jigsaw killed Jeff's wife on purpose, Jigsaw then says, "Forgive me. It's your last test." Jeff says, I do forgive you. Fuck that power saw to the throat. Then Jigsaw says, "Was fucking with you. You failed the test since you didn't forgive me. I'm setting you up for a new game," which sets up Saw 4. In addition, Amanda, who was in love with Jigsaw, was the one setting the traps, purposefully killing people for no fucking reason, because she thought Jigsaw's philosophy was bullshit. She was like, don't give him a chance to live, just fucking kill him. But then she got killed by Jeff. And then you have Detective Eric Matthews, who I believe at this point has a broken foot. I don't know where he goes from there.
Oh, I thought he was
Donnie
inside of a
Wahlberg
safe.
somewhere. Well, with a broken foot, though. I believe he is still alive.
He's inside of a safe with a broken foot.
Yes. So now all that is left at the end of Saw 3, Jigsaw, if I understand correctly, is dead as a fucking doornail. Dr. De Leon, dead as a fucking doornail. So is Amanda. The only people left are Jeff, who is set up with a new game, which I assume is going to be Saw 4, and Broke Foot Detective Matthews. So I don't really know. So far, I think I understand it. Saw 3 introduced insane amounts of characters. I think by the end of Saw 3, you have 2 people left. That actually sounds scary. Jeff and Detective Matthews.
Okay.
That's gonna scare the fuck out of me, actually. All right, so that sets up Saw 4.
Do I have time to go grab like a kielbasa sausage out of the fridge and make a sandwich?
If you want to do
I'll eat. I'm hungry as shit. I'll eat a sandwich while I go through this.
What do you got? You have a kielbasa sausage?
Yeah, with relish
I
and
love
mustard.
you, baby, but all I can think about is kielbasa sausage. Your butt cheeks is warm. We are on Saw 4. Are you ready to walk us through the next Saw? Because I'm on my 3rd piece of paper.
I'm finishing chewing.
That's fine. To catch everybody up, we've gone through Saw 1 through 3. Saw 1 and 2, very simple. You only really need to know 3 people: Amanda, Jigsaw, and Detective Matthews.
Well,
then on Saw 3, shit goes crazy.
You have 500
They introduce 300 characters.
Yeah, 500 important characters all of a sudden.
And then somehow, though, they kill off
everybody.
257
They're
of
all
them.
dead.
And you're left with just this guy named Jeff, who really came out of nowhere, and Detective Eric Matthews, who has been with us for a while now. So now we are at Saw 4. It is reset. There's a new game, and Jeff, I believe, who has just killed Jigsaw with a power saw to the throat, has entered his new game in Saw 4. I'm hoping that's what happens.
Well,
because if it doesn't start that way, if it starts with a dude named Troy, I'm going to be fucking out of it.
Well, we start with a wax-coated microcassette found in John Kramer's stomach during his autopsy. It reveals that Mark Hoffman, the detective called in to hear it, that games, including his own, will continue. Elsewhere, 2 men, one with his eyes sewn shut and the other with his mouth sewn shut, awaken in a mausoleum, chained at the neck to a winch. The blinded man panics and activates the winch while attacking the muted man, who kills him and removes a key from his collar to free himself. So, yeah, gory intro. 4 days after Allison Carey's death, another SWAT team. Every one of these episodes starts with a SWAT team.
Also, keep in mind, Saw 4 apparently is only 4 days after Saw 3. If I'm keeping my timeline correct.
So a SWAT team led by Hoffman and Lieutenant Daniel Rigg finds her body. This is Allison Carey's body.
Okay.
Hoffman
I'm
warns
just writing down names, bro.
Rigg for breaking through the unsecured door to Reacher. Doesn't make sense. 4 days after Carrie's death, SWAT team led by Hoffman Lieutenant Dan Rigg finds her body, and Hoffman warns Rigg for breaking through the unsecured door to Reacher. The scene is also investigated.
I would say it's Wikipedia. We'll just roll on. Yeah.
I'm still trying to chew my food here. I'm eating. The scene
It's
is
all right. Enjoy your kielbasa sausage.
The scene is also investigated by Peter Strom and Lindsay Perez, Carrie's FBI contacts, who received a message and a key from her, noting Kramer and Amanda Young's physical limitations. Strom states that they are looking for an unidentified accomplice. He soon becomes suspicious of Rigg, who has developed an obsession with saving people in the 6 months since the disappearance of Eric Matthews. That night, Rigg is attacked at his home. He awakens to learn that Matthews is alive and has 90 minutes to save himself, with Hoffman's life at risk. Meanwhile, he must play his own game to face and overcome the obsession that the detectives are shown to be at each end of a larger seesaw. The detectives are shown to be at the end of a much larger seesaw. Matthews is held.
So wait, is Riggs the one that is set up to play the game? Is that what they're saying?
Everybody is playing their own game. I have no clue who is specifically the main target.
It sounds like to me Riggs was obsessed with Jigsaw, and so now there's a game set up for Riggs to play for him to get over his obsession. Is that right?
I don't know, because we're leading into Matthews is held atop an ice block by a chain noose, and Hoffman is strapped to a chair with electrodes at his feet. If Matthews slips too much or the ice melts, both men will die. A man later arrives to oversee the game. And that's how that paragraph ends. I'm not sure who or where we're...
No, it's fine. I think I'm tracking you. Keep going. Whenever you're done with your sausage.
I thought you were going to elaborate.
No, I'm writing notes. What I've got right now, I guess you want time to chew your sausage. What I've got right now is Daniel Riggs is the possible killer, and he is also playing a game. They think he's a killer, but he was obsessed with Jigsaw, so he's playing the game. In the game, he comes across his partner, Hoffman, and Matthews, who disappeared 6 months earlier, and they're rigged up on some kind of seesaw contraption. There's still the possibility of a third accomplice who is neither Amanda or Jigsaw because they weren't strong enough to put some of the people in the trap. So we're looking for a third guy who could be the killer. Meanwhile, Riggs is playing the game. That's what I've got so far out of your explanation of Saw 4. Okay. Hopefully that was enough time for you to chew your food.
Well, Rigg finds a pimp, Brenda, bound to a chair in his living room, which he accidentally turns on the trap, which slowly tears her apart at the scalp. Rigg frees her, but kills Brenda in self-defense when she attacks Rigg with a knife. Riggs is led to a motel and instructed to abduct the owner, Ivan Lansness, who Riggs puts in a trap after finding out that Lansness is a serial rapist. The trap binds his eyes with a blade, but it only blinds one eye and dismembers him. Riggs is led to a school where he finds himself a married couple, Rex, who is already dead, and Morgan, who already has her spikes pulled out of her body. Morgan pulls out the last spike, and Riggs gives her a key to save herself. Riggs turns on a fire alarm and goes to the location for his final test.
So many disposable characters. You just went through a list of, again, like 10 people who their only purpose in this movie was to show up
and die.
and have some kind of trap rip their face off.
Yep. The agents alternate between investigating the scenes and questioning Jill Tuck, Kramer's ex-wife. Jill reveals Kramer's work with civil engineering and property development, and that she has miscarried her pregnant son, Gideon, after 7 months when Cecil Adams, a drug addict, slammed the door on her stomach while robbing her at a health clinic. What kind of convoluted goddamn soap opera shit is that?
Hold on, bro. I'm making so many notes right now.
That was one
Don't
sentence.
stop, though, because it...
At the motel, the agents learned that the room was rented out to a lawyer named Art Blank, who vanished 2 weeks prior
damn.
and survivor of the mausoleum trap. Blank is revealed to be the man overseeing the game when he stops Matthew's attempt at jumping and giving him a gun. What?
I'm just going to say this real quick. As we're diving through this and this gets more complicated every episode, I think there is an alternate universe where R. Kelly has done a song series about the Saw series.
Oh, no, I think this is far more complicated.
And then there comes Jill Tuck. She was Kramer's ex-wife. She lost her baby when Cecil Adams slammed the door on her. He was homeless. John Kramer has cancer. His name was Jigsaw, and he was trapped in a trap. Trapped in a trap.
At school.
That would be the fucking
The agents learn of all three victims, as well as Jill, where Blank's clients. They find a puppet and tape recorded in another room, which plays a cryptic message to Perez before its face explodes, sending shrapnel into her face.
Perez?
Yeah, Perez. What did I say? Paris?
Oh, okay. That was one of the cops. Okay, I'm sorry. No. I was just trying to...
Yeah,
There's a lot of characters, dude. I have a lot of...
Yeah.
It looks like a fucking beautiful mind on my table right now.
So, yeah.
I'm trying to look at all the notes.
Perez explodes shrapnel in her face. After Perez is hospitalized, Strom furiously questions Jill, now convinced of Blank's involvement and how Kramer ended his work with the wake of Blank's depression, and that Cecil became the first victims of Kramer's games. Rigg connects her story and a prior clue to Gideon's meatpacking plant, the location of the final test. Strom arrives after Rigg, but ends up following Jeff Dunham, Dinian.
Jeff Dunham shows up. I got a puppet, guys.
After finding Jeff in a sick room, Strom shoots him in self-defense when Jeff demands his daughter back.
Who is Strom? Hold on. Who is Strom? I missed something. Who is Strom?
I don't know. Fuck, I just read the words.
I know, but I'm saying like I haven't heard that name before. Can you?
I'm looking. I'm looking for anywhere we may have mentioned Strom.
Because I got Matthews, Jill Tuck, Cecil Adams, Art Blank, a possible accomplice, Daniel Riggs, Mark Hoffman, Perez. I don't see a Strom anywhere.
Fucking Strom. Write it down, then you'll see it. Because I don't see it.
All right, Strom.
It's probably somebody.
I'm just gonna put Strom question mark. Keep going.
It may be somebody's last name that we overlooked.
It's all right.
Anyway, where was I? Blank pulls out a device. Okay, so Strom arrives with Riggs, but ends up following Jeff Denon. After finding Jeff in the sick room, Strom shoots him in self-defense when Jeff demands his daughter back. Meanwhile, Blank pulls out a device that will free him when the timer expires. If used before then, a pair of pincers will sever his spine. Rigg finds them and is shot by Matthews as he breaks into the room, releasing 2 overhead blocks of ice, which swing down and crush Matthews' head, killing him. Rigg shoots Blank, believing that he is responsible for the game, and learns that Blank's tape recorder that his interface caused Matthews' death. Hoffman, the actual accomplice, releases himself from the chair, but leaves Riggs to bleed to death. He steals Strom in the sick room and leaves the plant. The scene cuts to Hoffman at the morgue.
Okay, is that it? Is that it? Because I'm going to walk you through this.
Yeah, that's Saw 4.
Okay, Mark Hoffman and Daniel Riggs are cops investigating. Very interesting, by the way. Jeff fucking disappeared. There was no Jeff. Like Jeff, unless Jeff's last name is Strum. Is Jeff's last name Strum?
It might be Strum. That might be the same guy, Jeff Strum. That sounds right.
Can you double check? Jeff is possibly Strum. And if Jeff is Strum, he gets killed. But it seems to me that Saw 3 left off with about Saw 4 should have begun with Jeff playing a new game. But instead, it picks up with this random two cops.
Peter Strum is from the Saw movies. He's the secondary protagonist of Saw 4 and the main protagonist of Saw 5. So we're going to see some more of Strum in 5.
Well, this is so fucking confusing. Jeff is gone, okay? Can we just go ahead and say that Jeff, who seemed to be someone...
No. So second paragraph, FBI agent Peter Strum guns down
that Jeff is Jeff Dunham? That's the fucking same Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff Dunham fucking got killed in Saw 4. But here's what's weird. Is Saw 3 set up Jeff to be the main star of Saw 4? Instead, Jeff Dunham shows up for about 5 seconds to get killed by someone. Meanwhile, Daniel Riggs, who we think is going to be the accomplice, isn't. He kills this guy named Blank. Blank is dead. There's this other guy, Jill Tuck, who's Kramer's ex-wife. We don't know what, she's probably going to play a role somewhere. She lost a baby by this guy, Cecil Adams, who was killed by Jigsaw, his first victim. Matthews shows up with his broken foot and enough time to kill Riggs while Hoffman shoots him. And then it turns out that this guy, Hoffman, who I would argue is a very minor character, turns out to be the accomplice. Out of nowhere, in a fucking, after 3-4 movies now, a random guy named Hoffman has been the third killer to work with Amanda and Jigsaw as far back as at least Saw 2. This Saw 4, I'm going to go ahead and say, is the Saw that makes no fucking sense.
It's the one that left it all behind. Yeah.
And Strum, who really came out of nowhere, will concede that you were just reading, and then one point you had never said Strum, and then you said Strum, right? Doesn't that feel like how it felt?
That's the way I remember it. Convicted murderer Seth Baxter.
To your...
Oh, there's more. Go ahead.
Okay, we're on Saw 5. I was just going to say, now according to your research, Strum is about to be a major character in Saw 5. Good fucking luck, sir.
Convicted murderer Seth Baxter wakes up chained to a table beneath a pendulum blade. A videotape informs him that he can release himself by crushing his hands between presses. He does so, but the blade still swings down and cuts him in half as someone watches through the hole in the wall. In the meatpacking plant, FBI agent Peter Strum guns down Jeff Denian and locks him in the sick room. He discovers a hidden exit and a microcassette recorder, which urges him to stay in the sick room. But he ignores it and is attacked in the tunnel by a pig mask figure. He wakes up with his head... I
also want to say something real quick. Real quick, because you just said Jeff Dunham died. Jeff Dunham is from Saw 3, is where he first appeared. Saw 3 was, according to the timeline I've traced, Detective Matthews from Saw 2. Between Saw 2 and Saw 4, it's been 6 months. But between Saw 4 and Saw 3, it's been 4 days. So the best I can figure, the expanse of time between Saw 2 to Saw 5 is about 6 months and a week. Okay. The entire Saw series has played out over essentially a half a year.
Well, this
so far.
Strom wakes up with his head sealed in a box, which quickly fills with water, but survives by performing a tracheotomy with his pin. Outside, Detective Mark Hoffman delivers Corbett-Denian to the police and claims that they are the only survivors, but is shocked when Strom is brought out as well as live. Motherfucker. Strom is brought out alive as well. During the press conference, Hoffman is promoted to detective lieutenant and credited with closing the case. He finds a note on his office that reads, "I know who you are," and learns of Lindsay Perez's death while taking Strom's phone. At the hospital, Strom tells...
What's this cop's name?
Strom.
Okay, we're all talking about Strom right now.
Yeah, but
okay.
he just learned of Perez's death.
Okay.
At the hospital, Strom tells Hoffman that Perez's last words were his name and questions how he escaped the plant. Strom is also visited by his boss, Dan Ickerson, who puts him on medical leave. Suspicious Hoffman and determined to piece together his involvement with Jigsaw, Strom takes case files of past victims and begins to research them. Why I feel like I'm stroking out.
It's the kielbasa sausage, bro.
I want another one. I'm still hungry. Yin, you good?
What? Are you going to get a kielbasa sausage?
No. You're still caught up. I don't need to wait.
Oh, I'm caught up. I'm caught up.
In an underground room, 5 people awaken with collars connected to them, mounted with blades locked around their necks, the keys to which are in glass boxes across the room. A videotape claims that the 5 of them are connected and implores them to do the opposite of their instincts throughout the game. Malik, an arsonist, activates the timer and everyone reaches their keys except for Ashley, a former fire inspector, who is decapitated when one of the collars retracts. In the next room, they learn that the overhead jars contain keys to 3 bomb shelters. Charles, an investigative journalist, strikes Malik and begins smashing the jars one by one. Britt, a real estate vice president, and Luba, a city planner, each find a key, and Charles takes Malik's, only to be struck by Luba and left to die when the bomb detonates. In the third room...
I'm going to go and let you know I've quit writing down these extraneous names.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you just say them so they can die. Like I just
yeah, by the time
I'm not writing down these names.
By the end of this paragraph, it's going to say something to the extent of Strom showed up at the scene and saw dead bodies. So anyway, in the third room, 5 short cables must be connected to a full bathtub to unlock the door. Luba attacks Malik to use his body to close the circuits, but Britt stabs her and they use her instead. In the fourth room, they find a machine fitted with a circular saws and a breaker requiring 10 pints of blood to open the door. Malik notes the 5 armholes and they realize that all 5 of them were meant to work together to survive the game. Britt also works out their connection, and they were all involved in a building fire that killed 8 people. With no other options, they saw their arms off to provide the blood. Meanwhile, what the fuck? Did you just fall down? You okay?
No, I was throwing a beer can away. I'm listening.
Meanwhile.
So it's almost like Saw 5, that scene was almost a tribute to Saw 1. Yeah. That so many people had to cut their arms off to get the blood. A little tribute there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Strom learns that Baxter killed Hoffman's sister and was released from prison on a technicality. As revenge...
Hold on.
Baxter.
Who's Baxter?
Baxter was the guy released from prison on a technicality.
But is Baxter in the current circle?
Baxter just got out of jail on a technicality.
Okay. It's a fucking soap opera. Keep going.
As revenge, Hoffman later abducted and killed Baxter, using the pendulum trap to frame Jigsaw. He later abducted John Kramer and blackmailed Hoffman into working with him. They set up most of the games together, with Hoffman planting Lawrence Gordon's pinlight and providing the police the files that the nerve gas of the victim. The police files for the nerve gas house victims. Strom realizes in the end
For Saw 2. So he goes all the way back to Saw 2 there.
Yeah, so Hoffman planted all this shit. Strom realizes in the end that everyone is meant to die in the plan except for Colbert and Hoffman, who would become the heroes. His activities soon draw Erickson's worry, which is further fueled when Jill, who received a box and a videotape from Kramer's will, approaches Erickson to claim Strom is stalking her. After Hoffman calls Erickson to tell him about Strom's theory of a second accomplice, Erickson pulls the tracker on Strom's phone. Holy fuck. That's what
There's
it loses
so many
me.
names, dude.
When Steve does this to Jill, and Jill did this to Bill, and Bill did this to Com, and Com did this to fucking Steve.
Think about this. This all started with a very simple movie with about 4 characters. Saw 1, 4 people were in that movie.
And they hated it.
And it's
They
like,
fucking hated
one
it. So
guy
they said,
said-
when we make money, we're going to have 1,000 actors. We'll have millions of actors to fill in. And God, if they didn't
It's like-
fucking make their dream happen.
All right, just keep going. I'm trying, man.
Erickson follows the tracker to the observation room and finds the phone.
Because like you just said that, like I don't really know who Erickson is. I'm going to admit, I don't really know who Erickson is. I'm going to write it down.
Well, he's the guy that
I don't know
follows
where
the tracker
Erickson
to the
came from.
observation room and finds the phone in his own personal file planted by Hoffman. He also finds Britt, who manages to crawl from the 4th room after Malik passed out from blood loss. Erickson calls for medical attention for the victims and puts out an all-points bulletin on Strom, who follows Hoffman to the renovated nerve gas house and finds an underground room containing a clear box filled with broken glass. Hoffman's tape urges Strom to enter the box, but he stops short and ambushes Hoffman. After a brief struggle, he seals Hoffman in the box, which seals the room's exit. Hoffman indicates the tape, which warns Strom that if he does not enter the box, he will disappear and inherit the Jigsaw legacy. The box is safely lowered. I like how they use the word safely. The box is safely lowered into the floor as the walls close on Strom, who unsuccessfully attempts to escape through the ceiling grid and is crushed to death.
Is that Saw 5?
That's Saw 5.
Okay, here's what I understand. Hoffman is still the accomplice who goes apparently all the way back to Saw 2. Jeff Dunham is now dead. Baxter just got out of jail, was killed later. I wrote Jigsaw's friend. I don't really know. Jill Tuck, who was Kramer's wife, has some kind of relationship with this guy named Erickson, who it came out of fucking nowhere, put an APB on Strom. Strom, I wrote, where did he come from / good guy / died. He seems like he would be a decent, like he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He is dead now. And best I can tell, Hoffman is in a box. The new Jigsaw is in a box.
Full of glass, buried underground while a man was crushed to death as the roof collapsed.
So all I can think is like, what's in the box?
Well-
Jigsaw's in the box.
Yeah, the new Jigsaw is in a box 6 feet underneath the collapse of a building or a hydraulic press. Who knows?
And we still don't know who Erickson is or why Kramer's wife is even a character in any of this. So that
It all
brings us
turns
to
out she
Saw
gave him
6.
cancer. She's the one that gave him cancer is my prediction.
Don't please. I know it's tempting to make predictions, but that's just introducing more possible plot lines. And so I'm having a hard enough time keeping up.
Two predatory lenders awaken on either
Yes,
side
okay.
of the room, split by a cage in scale, wearing head harnesses.
This is
with-
Saw 6.
wearing head harnesses with screws poised to pierce their temples. The one who sets more flesh weight upon their tray will survive. Eddie cuts fat from his torso, but Simone chops off her arm, and Eddie is killed when the timer expires. As he reviews the game's footage, Detective Lieutenant Mark Hoffman is called to the scene by FBI agent Dan Ickerson, who has found...
So wait, here's a question. How did Hoffman get out of the box?
Let me finish the sentence. As he reviews the game's footage, Detective Lieutenant Mark Hoffman is called to the scene by FBI agent Dan Ickerson, who has found Peter Strom's fingerprints. I don't know anybody in this story. You can't ask me this question. Is
Eckerson a new character, or did I misunderstand Erickson earlier?
Oh, yeah, that's probably the same person. It's Erickson. It's Erickson. Eckerson.
Okay, so Erickson is still here.
Dan Erickson.
Hoffman is somehow out of the box.
Yeah.
And Strom is still dead.
Yeah, well, he was reviewing. So, yeah, he's either in the box watching some video on his cell phone, or he is out and about.
I feel like he's out of the box.
He might still be in the box.
Continue.
Also present is Lindsay Perez, whose survival has...
Wait, I thought she was fucking dead.
Whose survival was covered up by Erickson for her protection.
What a twist.
They learn from Dr. Adam Hefner, the coroner who performed all the autopsies.
A new character.
For the case thus far, that a knife was used to cut the jigsaw piece from Eddie's flesh was only used once before on Seth Baxter. The agents intend to find Baxter videotape to prove Strom's involvement. While at the hospital to meet with Simone, Hoffman is met by reporter Pamela Jenkins, who claims to have found something at the meatpacking plant. He later meets with Jill Chuck at her clinic and takes control of the games.
Stop saying names. And
is given Jill 5 envelopes from the box left to her by John Kramer's will, each containing photos and people to be tested. Yes?
Okay.
Jill Tuck? Pamela Jenkins?
She's Kramer's ex-wife. I know that now.
Simone Hoffman?
And Jill Tuck. Stop saying names. Jill Tuck gave Hoffman 5 envelopes.
Jill Tuck at her clinic and takes control of... It was her office, and he has given 5 envelopes that John Kramer gave her in a will. So after he leaves, a flashback reveals that Kramer...
I'm just saying my fucking head hurts right now, dude. This could have been the worst idea I've ever had because this is frustrating.
A flashback reveals that Kramer brought Amanda Young to Jill, who had deemed her a lost cause. As proof of his methods... I shouldn't have accented that part. Anyway, a later flashback, we're flashback within a flashback now, as Jill delivers a package from a box to the hospital, shows that Jill met with Kramer at plant hours before his death, where he gave her the box's keys and a promise that she will be protected when the games ended. Y'all good? You caught up?
I think so. I really think so.
All right, William Easton, an insurance executive from the Umbrella Health, meets with Debbie, the company's attorney, about Harold Abbott, who succumbed to heart disease after the coverage request was denied due to the application discrepancy. Hoffman abducts Easton from his office that night and brings him to the abandoned zoo, where he and his janitor, Hank, awaken in vices to complete 4 tests and remove bombs strapped to his limbs, or he will lose his family. Hank, a heavy smoker, is unable to hold his breath for long and is killed by the vice. Easton's other tests force him to save his workers from traps, including a hanging room, a steam room, and a carousel. It is shown that Kramer met Easton at the opening of Jill's clinic and took issue with his formula. After his cancer was diagnosed, Kramer's coverage was requested for an experimental Norwegian treatment was rejected by Easton.
So Easton's like a health insurance guy that Kramer, like he's really, it sounds like to me, Easton is what made Jigsaw.
That's what it sounds like, but I don't know who Debbie, the company attorney, or Harold Abbott are.
Continue.
Your fucking bell, dude.
I'm going to ring the bell every time there's a new fucking character. Just the church bell. Keep going.
The game is viewed by a woman named Tara and her son Brent from a cage below the observation room, which contains a tank of hydrofluoric acid and a switch marked live or die. Pamela awakens in the cage on the other side of the room during the game. Hoffman is called away by Erickson and Perez, who found the Baxter videotape and are having it unscrambled by an off-site technician named Carlos. They inform him that abnormalities were found in Strom's fingerprints, and Erickson eventually reveals their knowledge of Strom's death. And the moment his voice is unscrambled, Hoffman attacks and kills everybody in the room, plants fingerprints using Strom's severed hand, and lights the room on fire to destroy the evidence.
Is that the synopsis?
No, we got another paragraph. I just wanted to give you room to kind of like absorb that.
I almost feel like we just need to take a breath, dude. Holy fuck, is this complicated?
Okay, let's finish the last one.
And I'm trying.
So, he returns to the observation room and finds a letter he'd written to Amanda in which he used his knowledge of her role in Jill's miscarriage to blackmail her into killing Lynn Denion. And the letter was found by Pamela to give to Jill, who uses it to ambush Hoffman as Easton reaches the end of his path on the second of the left, finding himself between the cages. It is revealed that Pamela is his sister, while Tara and Brent are Harold's family. Tara is informed by the videotape that Kramer that she can either kill Easton or free him using the switch. When she is unable to make a decision,
I don't think I've had enough. I don't think I've had enough to handle this fucking shit right now.
Brent angrily shifts the switch, and the bed of needles swings down and injects Easton's body with acid, killing him. Jill restrains Hoffman and locks a new reverse bear trap to his head. She shows him the sixth envelope, which contains his photo, and leaves him with 45 seconds but no key. Hoffman escapes by breaking his hand and jamming the trap as it activates, and he pulls his head free, ripping open his cheek. And Jill meets Bill, and Jill meets Stephanie when one time Samantha did this,
you just fucking said
and
Dr.
Aaron
Seuss.
was once at the store.
All right, hold on. Let me try to get through. Saw 6 could be the worst. Hoffman somehow got out of the box. Erickson, I didn't even write things next to it. I didn't know what to do. Strom was mentioned. Lindsay Perez, still alive. Adam Hefner did an autopsy. Jill Tuck. It sounds like to me she was the main bad guy, I think, and she tried to kill Hoffman at the end. Then there was William Easton, who was an insurance guy, who was the reason Jigsaw became Jigsaw, that died. And then Amanda had a miscarriage, but I don't know, was it Jigsaw's baby? Was it not Jigsaw's baby?
It was a blackmail.
Jill found out about it and it was very upset.
I know there was a blackmail with the fucking pregnancy.
Someone tried to blackmail someone, and then Hoffman got out of the box. Is that the end of the movie?
He's in a box. I don't fucking know.
Saw 7. I can't keep up with Saw 6 for the life of me. I feel like Jill Tuck is now the bad guy, but somehow I feel like now Jill Tuck is the bad guy.
I don't know who I should feel
square
bad
off
for.
Against Hoffman, who's a bad guy.
I have no clue. Saw 6 or Saw 7, also known as Saw.
Is this the last Saw?
No. I don't think so. I think there's more.
What do you mean no?
Well, this is called Saw 3D.
Oh, yeah, this is the last Saw. This is it. It's over. After.
It's called The Final Chapter. I thought they went on. I thought they did more. I thought they did like an 8.
They never did, dude. Are you realizing that they went on too long yet? Do you realize?
I lost track after 2. Same way, like I saw the movies naturally, and like I own Saw 1 and 2, and then I own like Saw 5, and then I own Saw 3D. Like so, I just have like the first 2, which make the story kind of work, and then the rest of them are just like, I found them one time for like $2.
But it's all fucking like literally since Saw 3, where I thought I could map this out. Okay, since Saw 3. Saw 5 and 6. Saw 6 was fucking nonsense. You were just reading a list. Like it was like you were taking attendance. You were just reading a list of names. It was fucking insane.
Well, the later we get,
let's see if
the less I am copacetic, and my reading is getting worse. I know my reading is getting way worse.
No, but I'm actively, I swear to God, dude, I'm actively taking notes. And I'm paying attention. I know you're eating a kielbasa sausage and saying words that are in front of you. I'm telling you, Saw 6 makes no fucking sense, man. What is Saw 7? Maybe they'll bring it together. Maybe
2
I'll be
men,
blown away.
Brad and Ryan. Oh, by the way, don't forget, this is in 3D. 2 men, Brad and Ryan, awaken in a Metropolitan storefront window. Bound at the wrist to opposite sides of a work table with a circular saw in front of them. The mutual lover, Dina, is suspended above a third saw. As the scene draws attention and police arrive, a puppet informs the men that they can kill each other or let Dina die. They initially fight each other, during which Brad is cut, but ultimately choose to allow Dina to die instead. Fuck Dina. Matt Gibson, an an internal affairs detective at Mark Hoffman's precinct, is met by Jill Tuck, who incriminates Hoffman in exchange for protection and immunity from prosecution. Gibson, who has distrusted Hoffman ever since Hoffman saved the life by gunning down a homeless man, agrees to her terms. What? Now Hoffman just shoots homeless people?
And IA knows about it. Wait, the Internal Affairs knows that.
Hey, I don't trust you anymore ever since you shot that homeless dude. Okay, it gets better.
You know what people... All right, keep going, yeah.
Gibson, who distrusted Hoffman ever since Hoffman saved his life by gunning down a homeless man. Okay, I guess there's a little term in there. Agrees to his terms. Meanwhile, Hoffman abducts a skinhead gang. Dan, Evan, Jake, and Kara, and he places them in a trap that kills them all, leaving a reverse bear trap at the scene to incriminate Jill, who is in protective custody. After a meeting of Jigsaw survivors, including Lawrence Gordon, who cauterized his leg on a steam pipe after escaping the bathroom and now uses a leg brace and a cane, Hoffman abducts Bobby Dagan, a self-help guru who achieved fame and fortune by falsifying his own survival story. He sends Gibson video with cryptic clues to the game's location, offering ends to the games if Jill is given to him.
Who is Gibson? Oh, Gibson's the internal affairs guy. Okay. Keep going.
Dagan awakes in a cage in an asylum and is told that his wife Joyce will die if he doesn't save her within 1 hour. Joyce is chained at the neck to a steel platform that gradually pulls her down as she watches Dagan's progress. After he escapes the cage, which dangles over the floor of spikes, he begins searching for Joyce. Along the way, he finds Nina, his publicist, in a fishhook trap. Suzanne, his lawyer, in a pinwheel trap. And Mikhail McNamara, his best friend and co-conspirator, in a hanging trap. All three are in separate traps representing the three wise monkeys and are killed despite the efforts to save them. After he moves his upper wisdom teeth to obtain a combination for the security door, Dagan finds Joyce is forced to reenact the trap he claimed to survive. He must drive hooks through his pectoral muscles and hoist himself up to the ceiling in order to deactivate the trap. He fails and is forced to watch a brazen bull capsule closes around Joyce and incinerates her.
Please tell me that's not the end of Saw 7.
No, we got two more. Just a lot of names. I was hoping you were caught up on your notes.
By the way, I quit taking notes on these names. All those last names you've named, they are meaningless to the franchise.
You're not going to remember Cale McNamara? I guarantee you, Saw 15, Cale McNamara has some goddamn plot twist that pertains to this goddamn story. Fucking Dagan's best friend and co-conspirator. Very fucking important. Gibson eventually discovers the game's location and sends a SWAT team. Watch out! Here comes the SWAT team again.
They're out of every Saw movie, I think Saw 1 is the only one that doesn't involve a SWAT team.
They didn't have the money for it in Saw 1. Saw 2, they bought a shitload of SWAT gear. They over-encumbered themselves with SWAT gear. Now we got to use this shit. We got tons of SWAT gear. We're fucking SWAT team. Send them in.
Yeah.
Okay, so the SWAT team. All right, so Gibson eventually discovers the game's location and sends a SWAT team, who are sealed in another room and killed by toxic gas, dead. Simultaneously, he and two officers infiltrate Hoffman's command center in the junkyard, where they find Dan's corpse sat in front of several monitors connected to the police headquarters security cameras. He sees Hoffman brought into the morgue in a body bag and tries to warn Palmer, who is killed by an automatic turret gun along his men. Hoffman kills Dr. Hefner, Palmer, and everyone else in his path to Jill, who briefly escapes before she is caught and knocked unconscious. He straps her to a chair and locks a reverse bear trap on her head. She awakens and the timer starts and is killed by the trap, activates terror. I feel like the bear trap, reverse bear trap, has become like the DDT. Like, you run into a wrestling ring and you're just like, DDT. Oh, look, another guy. DDT. Oh, reverse bear trap. Reverse bear trap. Oh, look at me. Reverse bear trap. Left and right.
It's the ultimate Saw move. It's the Saw move, yeah.
I think the catchy thing, SWAT teams, bear traps, 77 characters is starting to get worn out by Saw 7. How many names do you have on your list? Count the names. Just how many names have we gone through?
Well, hold on. Are we done? Let's finish and then I'll count.
Okay. After destroying his workshop, Hoffman is attacked and subdued by three pig masked figures, one of whom is Gordon. Flashbacks show that John Kramer found him.
What the fuck?
What?
What the fuck? They introduced a character in Saw 7 that they're going to pretend like has been involved since like Saw 1.
After destroying his workshop,
Gordon.
Hoffman is attacked and subdued by three pig-masked figures, one of whom is Gordon. Gordon is Lawrence Gordon. He's the meeting of... He cauterizes his leg on a steam pipe after escaping, and now he uses a leg brace and a cane. See, they're important. You're not writing down the names. Write down the fucking names.
I'm writing down I actually wrote his name down. And I know why now. Because apparently he's been involved since day one as a fucking killer. Who are the other two pigs?
So Hoffman was attacked, and one of them was Gordon. Flashbacks show that John Kramer found him unconscious by the steam pipe and nursed him back to health by the fucking suppleness of his breast, and Gordon has assisted him ever since. This is known only by Jill, who delivered a package to him at the hospital, a videotape which Kramer asked him to watch over Jill and take action if anything ever happened to her. To this end, Gordon has Hoffman brought to the disused bathroom and shackled by the ankle to a pipe. Gordon throws the hacksaw he used to sever his own foot at the door and turns the lights off and seals the door, leaving Hoffman to die. We have wrapped it up full circle. Guy who cut his leg off.
Hold on, wait a second. Is Gordon the fucking Carrie Elways? Is Gordon the fucking guy from Saw 1?
Yeah, Saw 1, the fucking Princess Bride guy.
Holy fuck. That gets a fucking standing O. That was fucking amazing. I am standing and clapping. Standing ovation.
Hold on, let me see if there's a Saw 8.
I think that's it, bro.
Saw 8, coming out 2017. Get ready for the re-scaring.
Is that for real?
It's called Saw Legacy.
All right. That was amazing. That it ended with but it didn't say the other 2 pig masks. There were 3 pig masks, but it only said one of the 3.
Well, one of them was
all right.
Jigsaw himself. He hadn't died for cancer.
So you've got
Jigsaw. The main character died in episode 2 of an 8 fucking part film.
Yes. Hoffman was the killer for 5 of the 7 movies.
And that's Danny.
And then he got killed.
That's New Kids on the Block guy, right? What happened to New Kids on the Block guy? What was his name? Donnie
Wahlberg, Detective Matthews, died in Saw 3.
And no more of him.
Yeah. So, well, hold on. Let's go through it. Can you do tally marks while I read you names?
Yeah, go ahead.
Lawrence Gordon, Hoffman, Jill Tuck, Matt Gibson, William Easton, I said Jill Tuck, Adam Hefner, Lindsay Perez, Strum, Erickson, Amanda, Baxter, Jeff Dunham, Art Black, Cecil Adams, Matthews, Daniel Riggs.
Well, I think we've had Matthews twice.
All right, take one off. Well, there is another Matthews, the Matthews kid, Dylan Matthews.
Oh, there's 2 Matthews. Okay, I'll leave it.
Dr. Len DeLeon. And then we get to Saw 3, where we finally see the name Jigsaw. Took that long.
Well,
then
we used different sources originally.
I think that's it. And then Wilson Still. By the way, can I just say Wilson Still never came up? This means something, but we don't know what it means at the end of Saw 7.
So we have
how many
we have
names
18 main characters that we listed.
That's 18.
You said you ignored the ones that just showed up. Yeah.
The foot soldiers didn't even fuck with. There are 18 major characters in the plot line of Saw 1 through 7. The majority of those 18 get introduced from Saw 5, 6, and 7. It's like after Saw 4, they went, just write a bunch of names down.
Well, I mean, that's
write a fucking shitload
that's
of
Eli
names
Roth
down.
For you.
Fucking insanity. I'm going to tell you right now that I still, I feel like I have a better understanding of what the Saw series is about. I still think it's complicated as fuck and doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I would think the word plot hole. It's fucking insane, dude. The only thing I like is that they brought back the Princess Bride guy at the end to be the main bad guy.
Well,
and there's really going to be a Saw 8?
Yeah. October 27th next year.
Well, I think we proved our point.
It's almost like literally
in a way
a year
I didn't
away.
Expect. I thought that we would break it down. So here's what happened. When we did the R. Kelly thing, when we went through the entire Trap in Closet series, I'm not going to lie. It was insane, but it made sense. Like after we were done with it, I went, oh, I get that now. I understand that now.
Yeah, you can connect the dots.
I still don't understand.
I have no clue. Other than there's a guy that likes to murder people.
Dude. But not even a guy, like 17 guys.
I think we could have written this.
Every main character at some point became the fucking murderer.
We could have written this. We could have done this on our own, and we could have been the Saw guys. Fuck it. Just I think Steve shows up, and now it's different because Steve's here. Leave it at that.
Yeah. Oh, and then hey, who is from Saw 2? Adam Levine. Adam Levine shows back up. But guess what? This time, he's a fucking serial killer. And then they just went brilliant.
The comedian,
brilliant twist.
like Workaholics Adam Levine?
No, that's the Maroon 5 guy.
Oh, Levine.
Adam Devine is the guy you're thinking of.
Levine. Gotcha.
But either way,
that
the
story is very funny
said,
with Adam Devine running around.
So there's the Saw series for you guys. If you understand the Saw series, please explain it to me. Okay? Please explain it to me. You can email us, explodedit@gmail.com. You can tweet us. You can Facebook us.
Comment on YouTube.
Let me know what the fucking, Please explain the Saw series to us. Because to this point, we still have no fucking idea.
This has been an Exploded production. For more where that came from, go to exploded.com.